Before the discovery of oil, the agricultural sector was the mainstay of the Nigerian economy, contributing about 95% to our foreign exchange earnings, generating over 60% of our employment capacity and approximately 56% to our gross domestic earnings. The overdependence on oil has caused a decreasing source of revenue for the federal government due to the falling price of crude oil, hence the need to revive the agricultural sector. The Anambra State government and Oilserv Group, through its subsidiary, Ekcel Farms Limited, in 2014, initiated an agricultural revolution which will positively affect the economic landscape of the state and indeed Nigeria. Ekcel Farms Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of Oilserv Limited. The thought to diversify into the agricultural sector of the economy by the astute entrepreneur and industrialist, engineer Sir Emeka Okwosa, was conceived to facilitate a massive agricultural revolution in Nigeria and the southeastern sub-region, which in return fosters an enormous economic transformation through employment generation, elimination of agricultural losses due to the current shortfall in processing facilities, and encourage independent farming through an organized outgrowers scheme. Chief Executive Officer, Ekcel Farms Limited, speaks on his foray into agriculture.
Agriculture for quite a few reasons. The first is I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur, and by my nature, I like to develop ideas. And that's basic in terms of basic reason. But then why agriculture and not something else? All our activities are driven and based on oil and gas. But when you talk oil and gas, you talk of technology, you talk of innovations, and you talk of doing things in a big way, because the scale of activities in oil and gas can be quite huge. Agriculture, for two key reasons, when you put it as a subset of what I will say. Agriculture because, one, we intend to apply the knowledge we have developed and skills we've developed in oil and gas industry in doing mechanized farming and doing processing of the cassava or tomato or any farm product. Now, how does it help? Process plant, whether it's for agriculture or for oil and gas or for anything, it's a process plant. The same basis. You have heat exchangers, you have dryers, you have all kinds of things. Our knowledge and experience in oil industry brings a lot of advantages when it comes to developing and running a process plant of any nature. We are used to that. So our major focus in the agricultural business is to be able to develop the agriculture in a way that is scaled up highly and is driven by processing, being able to process and move from basic products into processed products, to be able to store, to be able to export, to be able to make it more meaningful in terms of use and be able to diversify the use. Secondly, if we talk of mechanized farming, we are also talking about being able to deploy equipment, whether it's a harvester, whether it's a bulldozer, whatever. We have most of the equipment already. So economy of scale will help us also, and being able to use what we currently have, able to maintain our equipment, and able to have advantage compared to basic business that wants to get into farming and they're not able to deal with issues of maintenance of equipment. But finally, the main reason is growing agricultural base of the country and being able to employ a lot of people, provision of food. and all the products that come from there. Because Nigeria, we've had a lot spoken about agriculture in the past 30, 40 years, but we know that our capacity, productive capacity, has not increased very much relative to all the noise and talk. And most times it's always been touted that agriculture has to depend on government. That's wrong. There are areas where government can come in, especially when it comes to access to land. Because of the peculiar situation of land use decree, you need the state government to be able to give you title, because without title to the land, you have nothing. Also, you need the government to put at the federal level financial, what you can call policies that will help drive agricultural development. That's what I see as areas where the government can make a difference. But the real investment should come from private sector. That's the only way it can be sustained. So the reason we went into this starts from our background, our ability to develop processing plants and run them, and then of course provision of food and then employment.
The farms will grow different agricultural produce, including tomato and cassava, which will be processed into various byproducts such as tomato puree, that is ketchup, and tomato paste, and ethanol, respectively. Positioned to be the largest tomato and cassava refinery plant in Africa, its main focus is on a large scale, that is, commercial production, for the local and export markets. This will consequently pave way for Anambra State through improved revenue generation.
Ekcel Farm acquired 3,500 hectares of land to do a modern farming using mechanized method, and it's also going to site processing plant to create jobs, employment, and then development of the community we're inside. It has several objectives, which of them is to provide the teeming population of Anambra with jobs, and then development, increase internal generated revenue for the state, and then of course providing industrial raw materials, because we are targeting the processing of cassava into industrial starch and tomato paste. We're not going to go into canning, we're going to produce paste. That way small scale industries can take up the paste and then further can it, creating several thousands of jobs for the teeming population of Anambra State.
In March 2014, Ekcel Farms Limited signed a memorandum of understanding with the Anambra State government, led by Governor Willie Obiano, in which 2,017 hectares of land was allocated at Omasiago for this massive project. Ekcel Farms will maximize the utilization of local agricultural raw produce, using standard operational procedures in farming and production activities based on internationally recognized and accepted standards, with strong emphasis on product quality, development, and control measures. Expected to generate over 2,000 jobs in its first 2 years of operation, Ekcel Farms will produce 21,000 tons of cassava per annum, 150,000 tons of raw tomato, and 51,000 tons of tomato paste. The Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, ANSIPA, which is saddled with the responsibility of seeking and bringing in investors into the state, was pivotal in the company's huge financial investment in Anambra State. Mr. Joe Billy Ekunife is the managing director of ANSIPA.
I believe that Ekcel Farm is a household name, and because His Excellency tackled the issue of security and friendly environment when he came in, and it made also excel to look about bringing home investment. And I will also say that His Excellency, during his time in the banking, was well known to the chairman of Ekcel, and of course, chairman of Ekcel knows what His Excellency could do coming from private sector, and I think it enhanced, in I say, being one of the first investors in Anambra State.
Our engagement with Anambra State government, and particularly with ANSIPA, has shown that ANSIPA is actually focused in bringing development to Anambra State in a very structured and organized manner. Also, I mean, I give kudos to the leadership of ANSIPA because the individual there, Joe Billy Ekunife, is experienced, is knowledgeable, and he has engaged very well. I know my team, they've always had good things to say about ANSIPA. So I think they are going in the right direction. But you know, when you talk of development, when you talk of investment, it's a long-term process. And it requires engagement, continuous engagement. But I always tell them, which is actually what I think they've managed to focus on, the best development you can get in Anambra State, or in Nigeria for that matter, would be ingrown development. A lot of times you see governments talking about, oh, they've gone to Japan, they've gone to Mexico, they've gone there. No, when somebody is walking into your country to invest, the strategy is different. When Nigerians invest, clear-mindedly, those that have capacity is different, because when you're investing in your country or your state, you are there to stay. What is important is encouragement, and that encouragement, ANSIPA has been at the top of it, I believe strongly.
Since its mobilization to the allotted land, Ekcel Farms has cleared about 102.33 hectares of land and cultivated about 30.758 hectares.
Here we have over 31,000 hectares planted already as a seed multiplication. We have also cleared over 100 hectares of land. We have harrowed more than half of that. We are waiting for dry season to come to continue and then to expand, trying to synchronize the production with the time the industries will be, the factories will set up. Because from this place we'll be able to do test runs on the factories, and then we'll go. We might integrate this farm with what we call ample automated processing plant that can go to up to 150 kilometers to pick cassava from the farmers. Advantages of this farm is numerous, both to the community, the state, and the individuals. Starting with the farmers, we're going to put money into their pockets. They are going to be trained on precision agriculture. We're going to organize agro dealers to provide them with chemicals. We're going to provide them with improved cassava varieties. And then, of course, they are going to be trained. And then, most importantly, they have a captive market. They will supply to the factory at a predetermined and good price for the farmers.
The approach of this business is such that the farming will be weighed, the profitability of the farming section will be weighed, that of the processing plant will be weighed. It is designed in such a way that the processing plant is going to buy off from the farm. The farming business it's a business that doesn't pay back so fast. So in that line, majority of our supply of raw materials to the factory will come from outgrowers. This farm is supposed to serve as a buffer system so that there will never be a point where there are no raw materials scarcity in the processing plant. Agribusinesses are profitable, but profitable only when the basic infrastructural amenities are on ground. The factories, the tomato processing factory, the cassava processing factories will require power supply, will require steady groundwater flow, will require access roads. Logistics is a key challenge to processing and other agro businesses. So the key challenge for now in developing this business is the access road and power supply.
We've encountered a lot of problems, and these problems are not entirely internal. I give you an example. The level of interference in the land by the herdsmen is unbelievable. You need to go there to see for yourself. So ability to take full possession of that land is still not there. because some part of it is still being occupied by herdsmen with their cattle, with their families and all that, and these things are not easy to manage. Of course, we don't want to get into a situation where there is a fight going on and all that, so we are managing it carefully. The other thing we have to look at also, which has been a hindrance, is issues concerning access road. We've done the best we can as a business to try to get access to the place. As I speak to you, height of rainy season, right now there is no access. Cars cannot go in there, four-wheel drive cannot go in there, even bulldozers cannot track in there. So that is a major problem hindering our ability to move quick. We've tried in the past 3 years to see what we can do, but don't forget that the first 1 year was a process, even more than 1 year, was a process of surveying the land, getting title to the land, and being able to identify the land itself. It's a process. And one of the things that also we encountered, which is still actually subsisting, and I believe that has been made known to SIPA and the government, is that some portion of it, Enugu state government is laying claim to that. And that has to be sorted out. It's impeded our plan, because we had a plan on paper based on what we have, how we deploy our farm plans to different aspects of the land. We cannot do that. We've had to change now in order to adapt to what we've seen. I believe that will be sorted out.
But for the prevailing challenges, including inaccessible roads to the farms, the company would have cultivated much more.